Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 96 of the Simply One podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
Yeah, how we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we got the show for you.
That's right. That's fucking right.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how we do shit around here.
I don't lie to you, you know?
I'm tell you that shit for free.
Yeah, I might hide some stuff, but
I'm not some past allegations.
Yeah, I'm not like not bold-faced lying. I'm just,
Bending the truth.
Yeah, I'm just obscuring the truth, hiding the truth beyond the horizon.
They're putting chemicals in the water. Turn the fucking frogs gay.
Slamming my hand on the table, red faced.
He got in like serious water for accusing that
He got
the Sandy Hook.
Yeah, it's not serious water. He was taken to court and found guilty.
Yeah,
it's like he got some hot
Well, he didn't
water.
get jail time for it, did he?
No, he got fined like $1 trillion.
How do you escape that? Like you bankrupt?
Well, no, I think they even put in they put in certain restrictions and things like that like he can't get away from it. Like that man they'll garner his wages till the day he dies. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I ain't against it.
Yeah, good.
I ain't up the path to try to defend that.
Yeah, when he dies, they'll have to liquidate his assets to try and make him whole again. And if they fucking don't, his kids will owe it.
I don't think he has any kids.
Well, next of kin.
Dog.
Yep. They send fucking knee breakers to find his dog. Where's the fucking money, you shithead?
Where's the money, shithead? I think it's in there. Let me take another look.
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look. Anyways, this week we decided we were going to, not see anything good. And instead we stayed home and watched Rebel Moon. Because Chris is a big fucking baby. And was like, Iron Claw doesn't look good. And I was like, well, everybody else says otherwise, my man. And this Rebel Moon business also doesn't fucking look good. And you're like, I just want to see how bad it is. Well, without any spoilers, we'll later on we'll talk about how good or bad it is.
You're really kicking me while I'm down.
Yeah, right. It's been kind of a slow news week with the holidays and everything. I'm sure a lot of companies are taking a hiatus and they'll get back on the high horse here at the start of the year. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about up top is the fact that Mickey Mouse is in the public domain effective today.
Yo.
Now, it is specifically Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse.
Okay, yeah.
Because, they've, redrawn them and things like that and updated them. But Steamboat Willie is in the public domain immediately effective, like, right now.
Now, can they take that away?
Who's they?
Disney?
No. Once it's out there, it's out there. You can't,
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that they can't use Steamboat Willie. It just means that they don't have the monopoly on them. And the really fun part about that is, there's rules around it. You can't, you can't use Steamboat Willie. You can't use the name Mickey Mouse.
No.
You can just use the likeness of that very specific version of Mickey. You also can't make it seem like Disney is endorsing the thing that you're using him on.
Okay.
So, if I were to... The example that I saw that was good, okay, that makes sense, is a pair of Mickey ears with a picture of Steamboat Willie on them would very heavily imply that this is official, Disney merch.
Right.
And if I'm selling that, Disney's heavily litigious and will come after you.
Yeah.
You'll get a cease and desist, hopefully. So you have to make it very apparent that, this is not in any way associated with Disney, But it is out there. And in true fashion, we did get the trailer for the Mickey Mouse slasher film.
Nuh-uh.
Deadass.
I haven't seen it.
Called Steve. So it is being called Mickey's Mousetrap.
Can we watch it real quick?
Yeah. Let me pull the trailer up here. Hold on, let's talk about it real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the concept. So it is basically, it sounds like they went, you know what we're going to do? It's going to be a cross between Scream and Five Nights at Freddy's in a way, where this slasher, killer shows up wearing the Steamboat Willie mask, and it's a young girl's birthday, but she has to work late at basically a Chuck E. Cheese, and so her friends come to her work to throw a party for her there, and then the killer shows up.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. You got to watch that trailer there with us, or with me.
Hashtag the mouse
The
is
mouse
out.
is out. So it doesn't have a release date yet, but the creator did have, so he was directed by Jeannie Bailey, and he had a statement here where he was like talking with the Hollywood Reporter, and he says, we just wanted to have fun with it all. I mean, it's Steamboat Willie's Mickey Mouse murdering people. It's ridiculous. We ran with it and had fun doing it, and I think it shows.
Yeah.
I will say, just thinking back to like the first reveal of like Blood and Honey, that looks like a better movie.
Yeah.
Like the Mickey Mouse one does.
Yes.
Looks like a better movie than Blood and Honey. I also feel like Blood and Honey didn't feel like they were having fun with it.
No, they try to take it super
It felt
serious.
too serious. And this was very like, I mean, the acting in this wasn't great in the trailer, but it wasn't as bad as what we saw in Blood and Honey. Blood and Honey was tough.
That was just the part. I will say the one part that got me. That was like, it wasn't like a, but it was like a, ooh.
Yeah, creepy. Yeah.
Is when Pooh just like has his black eyes with the golden
The golden
ring.
ring,
and
yeah, his golden iris.
Yeah, and he's fucking drooling everywhere. And I was like,
That's
ooh.
creepy. But yeah, like they do very like the scream part is very like the. I mean, he literally does the "I'll be right back." And you're like, oh well, he's dead because you said he'll be right back, and when you say that, you don't.
You know,
I'm like, all right, yeah, we saw that 30 years ago in Scream
in Scream.
with Matthew Lillard, who was in Five Nights at Freddy's. My God,
It's full circle.
my God. Also today, at the exact same time, a Mickey Mouse inspired horror game called Infestation 88 was announced. So Nightmare Forge Games announced Infestation 88. It's a new 1 to 4 player survivor horror co-op game, aiming to infuse nostalgia with terror. This is like from the initial release. By twisting the now in the public domain Steamboat Willie into something much scarier, and it's in development for PC. They describe it saying, in the year 1988, what was thought to be an outbreak of rodents in various locations morphed into something far more sinister. So sometimes you'll need to fight, sometimes you'll need to run, and sometimes you'll need to hide in a locker. You can set traps and utilize CCTV cameras to try and stay one step ahead of the infestation. And item layouts are randomized in order to help keep matches fresh. And then they did put out like some screenshots and stuff, but it looks kind of like, I'll show you the pictures here.
Oh, that looks good.
I say some of the like the first person, like the actual player perspective, is pretty decent. The style of the Mickey Mouse enemy is odd. It's a little like decayed or run down. It almost looks like an animatronic. I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the vibe I get.
But I just like that they were on that shit.
Yeah, again, like the second it drops, we got the game for you.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because we talked about this back when we watched Blood and Honey. That like I said like Mickey Mouse. I didn't know it was this soon, but I knew that he was very close to being public domain, which is part of why Disney has kind of started to phase out like Mickey Mouse cartoons and things like that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, all right, well, the value of Mickey Mouse is going to start to be dropping fast with movies like the Mickey's Mousetrap and the game Infestation 88. Kids are going to be like, oh, it's Mickey. That must be Disney. And so they don't want that. And so, well, I guess the mouse is dead, you know? Long live the mouse.
Long live the king.
But no, I just thought that's right up our alley.
Yeah.
Of like,
Yeah, we'll have to try that.
yeah, let's try the game. And we'll have to watch the movie when it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't, like I said, no release date for the movie. Don't even know if it's going to get like a theatrical release or if it'll be like released on a streaming service or, you know, none of that's clear, but they are like putting it out there. And I'm sure part of putting it out there is they may not even have a like distributor yet.
Right.
So, hey, if we put this trailer out and then people are like, yo, maybe a distributor will swoop in and
Yeah, we'll
grab
pick
it.
that up.
Yeah. Like I said, as far as the comparison goes, this looks much better to watch than Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
I did just want to update about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Didn't do well monetarily. Because I know that when we talked last, the weekend wasn't up, so we weren't sure. So it had a pretty rough debut. Bringing in 80... Oh, sorry, that is the original. The sequel here brought in under $40 million in the 4-day weekend for Christmas. So it puts it behind its original, its predecessor, which opened at 67.8 million, not on a 4-day weekend even. And the Marvels released this year, which was MCU's lowest opening at 47 million. So not great there either. Also, it debuted worse than The Flash and Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Shazam's one that gets me.
Yeah, the only DCEU movie that it didn't beat, well, I guess, wasn't beaten by, was Blue Beetle, which had a $25 million opening, which, like you and I talked about, it was the only one that launched during the strike. So, yeah.
Of course, it's going to take a big old hit.
Yeah. And so it's like a weird, like, it's the, not with a fizzle, but with a bang, except it was not with a bang, but with a fizzle. Yeah. That's how the DCEU went out, was, a little at first and then all at once. Yeah. So, unfortunate, but, them's the breaks. Also, not a good movie. And so,
it really wasn't.
No, and so I'm thinking that's a big part of it, too, is like, there were low expectations going in because it's the end of the DCEU, and the other DC stuff that came out this year wasn't that good. And then the people that did see it went, that wasn't worth my time, and told people as such. And so then people stopped going.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or I guess not Willy Wonka, but Wonka was the #1 movie in the world again. Like Aquaman, a superhero movie, opened at #2. Sorry about it.
To a goofy remake.
Well, goofy prequel, musical. But it's a family film. I mean, I guess both technically are, but Wonka feels much more like, that makes more sense as a Christmas holiday movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, well, you got grandma and, I'm not taking grandma to go see Aquaman 2, but grandma and mom and dad and the kids and the grandkids can all go see Wonka together, I don't know, just tough. But what are you going to do about it? No, you
burn
like, what
down.
do you, yeah,
I'm
like,
going to burn it down. I'm going to riot.
These are all jokes.
Yeah, for legal reasons, these are in fact jokes.
Yeah, just to be clear. So Fallout London, that DLC size.
Is that out?
Not yet, but it has a release date.
When's it coming out?
It's coming out in April. So.
Oh shit, that's coming up.
Yeah, let me get the exact date here for us. They also put out like a 13-minute overview that I haven't seen yet.
No, I won't watch that though.
Yeah, let me see.
Not
here.
right now, but.
Where's the
13 minutes later.
13 minutes later. What the fuck is the date? I don't know if they've got an exact date yet, other than it's in April, so. Ooh. So, yeah, I did know that was an issue. So, Fallout 4 had a big update to, like, its engine and stuff, as well as Skyrim, and it broke a ton of mods.
How bad did it fuck up the making of the game?
Of the Fallout London. They straight up said, we acknowledge that situation has happened, and we will not be releasing on that update version. You'll have to use Steam's Go Back.
Dang.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fine, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, especially it's Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't...
Yeah, and Steam makes it super easy to do that, to go back to a previous version of the game. But also, a lot of people have said that, like, this is why they updated those games, because they plan on, they've kind of made acknowledgement that they plan on, they being Bethesda, plan on releasing, like, paid mods.
Why?
To make money. And so it's like, yeah.
I don't know, Mr. Krabs. That sounds a lot like human trafficking.
So it's like, yeah, we're going to break a bunch of the current mods and then release mods that work, but you'll have to pay us for it.
That's stupid.
And, yeah, which is a really bold move after Starfield came out. Yeah, it's like you don't have a lot of good, like, wiggle room with the public right now.
I bet you that's probably why they're doing it, though, is because it's such a money loss.
Well, but it's not. They made their money back on Starfield. Like, everybody bought it and then forgot it. You know what I mean? It's not like it flopped financially.
And that was the thing, too, is like for the first week, everyone was like, oh, gas.
Yeah. And then it very quickly was like, oh, actually... The denial went away, where people were like, I didn't spend $100 to play this early, and then it'd be bad.
I think it was the ship customization. That's what I kept seeing for a lot of the TikToks and stuff like that.
Like, the ship customization was what kept people hyped?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then getting in, I was like, this kind of fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm. boring.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so I'm excited because I always like a good, like, I mean, it's DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And it's super interesting, and it kind of checks a box that we've kind of wanted to see is, like, what happened to the rest of the world in Fallout, you know? Obviously, it is a pretty American, like, critique, honestly. You know, the games are, like, very much like, hey, here's American exceptionalism and things like that, you know, in a post, you know. We blew the world up, you know. But I do think it's interesting to see, like, okay, how does that play into, like, was the UK also, like,
A part of that?
aren't we incredible? Or are they, like, a neutral, congrats, you guys blew it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And obviously it's not going to be canon, but
So
we can pretend it is. We can just go, yeah, well, in DC, you know, in DC, in Fallout London, they say that this happened. That's all I had for the news, which means we got to talk about Rebel Moon.
Yikes.
You got a synopsis? What's this movie about?
This movie is following a woman named Cora,
Mm-hmm.
and she is on this planet for about what they consider 2 seasons, so probably 2 years.
Maybe, yeah.
And so she's, you know, still kind of the outcast, but
Yeah, she's like the new girl, basically.
People are starting to warm up to her, right? Because you know she's shown loyalty.
Yeah,
And they're
she's
all
helped
like,
out.
Yeah. And space Nazis come piling up, and things get hairy.
Yeah, not the Empire shows up
Yeah.
and demands tribute, and now they've got to figure out how to throw off the yoke of oppression.
Mm-hmm.
You got any, well, hold on, let me talk some numbers first. So, the viewership on it, so it's weird, because we don't have a box office, but it did receive 23.9 million views in its first 3 days, which was a solid kickoff, but when you compare it to the other movies that released this year on Netflix, it didn't perform very high. So, again, it's a weird one to compare to. Like, 23.9 million people saw it, but I don't know what that...
Right.
You know, it's hard to translate. So, like, Murder Mystery 2 with Adam Sandler came out, and it had 42.9 million. Extraction 2 had 42.8.
Extraction 2 is good.
They're very good. Leave the World Behind, the more recent one with Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, and it was produced by the Obamas, and it's based on a book. It had 41.7 million. So on the list of the top 15 movies released on Netflix this year, it's number 9. Again, during the holiday season when people are home, you know what I mean? Like, if they're going to watch a movie on streaming, it's now. Didn't watch this one, but it was number 1 on Netflix at the time of us watching it.
Well, yeah, because isn't it a Netflix original?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been known for it. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. They'll just
Push it to the
put
front.
it up there.
Yeah,
and say,
they
yeah,
want
this
you
is
to watch it.
Yeah, this is the best.
But
movie
now they
right
are.
now.
But now they do reveal viewer numbers. So I mean, it was genuinely the thing that's being watched. But I'm sure, like you're saying, they push it in your face, like, watch this. And when does the number cut off? You know what I mean? What is considered a view? If I watch 30 minutes of it and go, "This is dog shit,"
And turn
it off, I'm still a viewer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that brings us to the Rotten Tomatoes scores. So critics did not like this movie at all. They gave it a 23%. Audiences were a little bit more lenient with it.
Forgiving.
Giving it a 61%, which is still technically fresh, but it's not. It's like on the cusp. I think anything below 60 is when it starts to go sour. Yeah. Give me some spoiler-free plot thoughts on this B.
Plot was pretty dull. It was Star Wars.
Yeah, so it was a million different things and nothing unique, I think.
Yeah.
Let's collect a cast. But then we're going to take a long time to do it.
Yeah.
And then not really do anything with them.
And then just say,
check out part 2.
Part 2 coming in April.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it kind of ties in with the characters and chemistry, but like, they assemble a cast. Like I said, it's basically like Seven Samurai. Yep. Star Wars is based on Seven Samurai, and this is like, hey, we're gonna go around and collect these unique people,
which we don't really know a lot about,
and we don't know like
nearly enough about them.
No,
other than like basic names.
Yeah, and I don't think the movie does a very good job of explaining the significance of these people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can do it in the time frame that you had here, or like, don't spend as much time collecting them as they did. I mean, I've seen The Magnificent Seven, or
well, we'll talk about it. There's one scene in specific where I was like, "This is pretty fucking cool."
Mm-hmm. The spider. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but I also think that ends up being a negative on it. In a way. Yeah, in a way. Yeah, and we'll talk about it. But okay. So it does collect a lot of people. Takes too long on some of them, not long enough on others.
That's for sure.
And then doesn't really do anything with them. And I do think part of that is because there is a part 2.
So they're kind of like, we have the time we need.
But you don't, because you still have this movie. Like, if they were released at the same time and the break in the movie is treated as a intermission, maybe. But then I think you have to restructure the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost sounds bad, but I felt like the movie needed action to break up the... I'm trying to not spoil anything, but there's a lot of exposition, which is where they just dump information verbally.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot of tell instead of show. And, one of the big rules of screenwriting is show, don't tell. Where, I mean, there's like whole narrated sections where Cora's just telling you about the whole thing. And you're like, okay. And it's just info dump. And it feels like they're trying to build an interesting world.
It's not working.
Rapidly. And it doesn't really click. The action was pretty flat.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder did his whole slow motion.
It was cool, like, the first time.
And not really.
Like, yeah. It was an okay shot. But then they did, like, 12 other times, and it's like...
Yeah, and like, some of the stuff that they slow down is, like, someone shooting a gun. Mm-hmm. And then they do it 3 more times. And it's not that interesting to look at. Mm-mm. And it ends up dragging out. It doesn't feel fast and engaging. It literally slows down the action and shows how uninteresting the action is because it's slowed down, and you can actually like look at it and go, why is this shot taking up 5 seconds when it should be a blink and you miss it?
Right.
Yeah, I think it really worked against them in this case.
Dang.
So then it's like, well, the plot's not getting me there, and the action's really
not.
Almost like an interruption to the boring plot.
Yeah, and the action that they did have was just like...
uninteresting.
Yeah, it just wasn't that great. Nothing felt high stakes.
Yeah, no. Like, they could have all died, and I wouldn't have...
I'm like, okay.
All right, well...
Shame. That sucks, man.
Good.
Whoa.
You know what? I'm glad they died.
I'm glad that they died.
Yeah, I guess you want to rate it?
Yeah.
I mean, how do we rate stuff?
Well, you could always be overwhelmed, which means you thoroughly enjoyed the film and surpassed your expectations. You can be underwhelmed, which means you really didn't like it that much, or it didn't quite meet that bar, or you can always be right in the middle and be simply whelmed.
Do you just want to 1, 2, 3 it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Simply whelmed.
Underwhelmed.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, I guess it's still like we're treading that line of like, my expectation, like I went into it going, how bad could this be? And then left going, yeah, that was bad.
Pretty bad, yeah. Which means your expectations were
met.
No, because you went in going, well, how bad could it really be? And then went, oh, it's bad. So you were surprised by how bad it actually was, which should be underwhelming.
Just threw up there.
Yeah, I heard that.
Little piglet
thinking
over here.
thinking about how bad it is, got you gagging on it.
Like a hard cock. Yeah. So I mean, I could tell you the story
Could you?
like in a rundown. The story's super fucking. I mean, we already said it. Like what we said was the story.
Yeah, and so like, we watched it with your girlfriend, and like, her and I were talking. I mean, there was stuff happening in the movie. I found myself like, her and I had the same thought of like, I could potentially forget what just happened.
Yeah.
That's how forgettable it is.
I remember two things like distinctly.
Okay.
And like the first one is some woman like the space Nazis are taking over, and they take over like that barn.
Yeah, and they're fully going to assault a young lady.
Yeah.
And it felt really dragged out a bit.
A bit. And then Cora comes in and kind of saves the day. And I remember the part where
The dude flew on the bird, the griffin.
No. The part where at the end when
What's his nuts as the deer?
Cora's beating
the
dude. I mean the very end. Mm-hmm. And Cora's fighting the dude, and she's got like that big old staff, and like he's bleeding to the mouth, and it looks like his teeth are getting ready to fall out, like messed up. Or I remember thinking, oh, that'd be cool, like to pop his teeth out, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't look as cool when it did, and I was like, oh. But that's like those for whatever reasons. But also throughout the movie, I was like, I do hate this guy. He's a space Nazi, right?
That was a weird thing with like the enemies of it. Like, again, I don't even know. Like, they're not called the Empire, are they?
No, the mother world, mother worldians. No.
Again.
But like, yeah, and then there's that one guy that like was, he wasn't bad. He's the good guy from the bad team. And he's like, stop. He was trying to stop the other guys.
Oh, yeah, the soldier who was like, you guys are being bad guys.
Yeah. Or the robot with the flower crown.
Yeah, played by fucking Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, like...
Anthony Hopkins got a paycheck and got to work from home.
Yeah.
Dead ass, like he probably recorded from home. Because it's just voiceover and it's not mocap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a robot.
And if they did mocap, it wasn't Anthony Hopkins. You pay a mocap actor.
Which was such a weird, like, had a little play out.
Yeah, like
what?
I guess with it being a two-parter, maybe he plays a bigger role in the second half.
I don't know.
I don't hate that aspect.
You think they're going to
not...
follow through and make the second one?
Oh, yeah, it's already made.
Oh.
It's coming out in April.
Oh.
So we won't have long to figure out, like...
some lore behind it, I guess.
Yeah. They almost needed to release them, like, a week apart.
Yeah.
Or, like, maybe a month apart. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, the movie's not... Yeah, so I'm thinking it's maybe part of the strategy that Netflix goes with of, like, two things happen here. First of all, the movie was too long, so it had to be two parts. Second thing that happened there, I think, is they went, well, we'll put them a few months apart. People will watch the first part and stick around, keep their subscription active for the second part. The movie's not that good to stick around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really not.
So it's not going to work in that way. Now,
It's a
granted,
big, fat, wet fart.
I was actively upset that that's what we watched for the podcast this week.
Yeah.
Where I was like I said to you, I don't know that I've got anything to talk about. Like, the only thing I could talk about is the fact that I, like, the bad, like, you know what I mean? I can't even remember the movie enough to go through it.
I do remember how there's that scene, which we had talked about. The entire movie felt sexualized.
Yeah, like in a
weird,
really weird
way.
Where, like, first right off bat, the, like, farm community that she's a part of, like,
keeps trying to get her to fuck some dude.
Yeah, and like hard, and like they're trying hard. Not that they were like, you better fuck him hard.
Yeah,
but
they could.
But there was some of that implication too.
Yeah.
But like when they finished sowing their crops and everything, it was like a cultural thing where they were like, all right, now let's all go home and fuck.
But, to please the gods.
Please the gods, so that we'll have good harvest. Bury your seed so that our seed will
flourish,
prosper. Yeah, it was like kind of like the phraseology, and it was like that doesn't have to be the.
Yeah, it's so.
You could have picked anything,
and that's what you went with.
And that's what you were like. You know what they do? They fuck. And it's like okay, and then again with the attempted assault of that young lady.
Yeah,
and then they go to
with basically Hitler, the space Hitler. Mm-hmm. He's sitting there. He's got all the tubes in his gut, and then he takes it out, and then he's just
basically doing he's cupping, like the Olympians do, where he's getting the welts on his body. He's basically getting hickeys all over his body.
But then
he looks like he's about to bust a nut.
Well, then he goes fucks that thing with the tentacles sticking out, and it's wrapping its tentacles around his neck, and he's like,
yeah.
That CGI was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. And then they go to when it kicks off. So basically, the Empire that's not the Empire shows up. And it's like, yeah, we need all your motherfucking food. And they're like, but we can't do that. And then they kill the leader. And then they're like, so about that food, though. And they're like, oh.
All right, then.
All right, I guess we'll do that. And then Cora kills those guards that are going to assault that young lady. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, well, I guess we're rebelling now.
Yep. Don't have a choice.
So her and Mr. Farmman are like, we're going to go assemble a team. So they go to the nearby, port city.
Yep.
And they go to a saloon, and straight up some pig-faced dude walks in and is talking to Cora and is like, do you own this one? And she's like, not for sale. And he just straight up grabs the farm dude by the dick and balls hard.
Yeah.
And is basically like, I'll take him for a try, She's like, I said not for sale, And then it was, I don't know if it was meant to be played for laughs or oh no, there's a danger here. But again, it was another sexual assault.
Yeah.
That was why is this in this movie?
Why is this such a theme?
Yeah. It did. It just felt like a horny movie, but not in any sort of way I felt comfortable condoning.
Yes.
This
is fucking weird.
And it didn't feel like it had anything to say about sexuality either. You know what I mean? It wasn't like there was a point to it.
Right.
It just felt like it was additive.
It was something that was just there.
There, present, and was distracting. We brought up you said the really cool scene with the spider lady.
Oh yeah, whatever that sword lady was that was fighting her. It was just a cool fight scene.
Yeah,
that was probably the highlight of the movie.
Yeah,
because she got to slide under and
slice her belly, and that was another one of
who is she?
I think it had more. It was a disadvantage to the movie because it was more interesting than the rest of the movie, and it didn't spend enough time on it, and it kind of hamstrings itself in a space where you're like, I want to know more about that, but it's not. It's a piece of the whole,
right? And
the whole is not interesting, and I'm like, just focus on this piece.
Yeah. Which that just doesn't really happen.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Which again is part of that issue of spending too much time on certain character collection scenes and not enough on others. Where do it like a Magnificent Seven, where you go around and you have a quick. Just real quick. This is Tex, and he's good with a gun, and you show him showing off his skills, and then this is Rex, and he's good with throwing knives, and you see him throwing knives. And this is so-and-so.
The Bear Jew.
Yeah, and you just quickly go through, these are their skills, and then you show them working together to become a team.
Hugo Stiglitz.
And then you show them becoming a team, and then you're like, okay, yeah. And they get to demonstrate their skills together.
And how
they're going to work together.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I can see what's happening here. As opposed to basically a bunch of vignettes of here's this person, why they're important.
And that was the thing too, is it felt a bit too much like a video game cinematic, because it's they would get there and then the cutscene happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
That's a good description.
It's for that one, it's because they didn't help fight the spider. They were just
standing there watching it happen.
There, it's I feel like that's what you would see in a cutscene of a video game.
Though arguably in a video game, your character might get involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess
so it's even less active.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and one of the characters that they collect is like a leader of the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, we don't get to see him lead the rebellion, really. And, like, he feels like too important of a character to be a part of this group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he goes and dies. And it's supposed to be like a heroic sacrifice that wasn't earned in any way. So it's another section of like, okay, why is this happening and why am I focused on it and why, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just taking up time and space.
And that's the thing too, is like it sets him up in the beginning for him to kind of be like a cuck.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because he like kind of rats out the village and he's like, nah, we're living pretty prosperous around here. We got extra grain and stuff.
Who are you talking about?
The farmer boy.
No, I'm talking about the leader of the rebellion.
Oh.
Who dies trying to take out the turret. The person that's shooting at them at the end, and he jumps up on the thing and stabs the guy through the windshield.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. See?
Yeah,
that whole thing happened, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the fuck are you going on about? Yeah, that sucked, because, like, he seemed cool. He seemed like one of the cooler ones.
Yeah, right.
And then it was just like, oh.
And now he's gone.
Yeah.
And also, like, I didn't care that he was gone. Like, in the context of the movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh, no, not him.
Right, but I was like
All right, so now we're down one already?
But then I raised an eyebrow because he was like the leader of the army. So who does the army?
And also, like, he left his sister behind because it was he and his sister leading the rebellion. But then we see the, like, Empire show up and basically, like, wiping that planet off. Did his sister leave, or is the rebellion just gone now?
I don't know. We don't.
And these, like, 6 people are now the rebellion? Because I'll tell you, 6 people does not a rebellion make.
No. Mm-mm.
And, like, I'll level with you. I was on my phone a couple times.
I was dozing off.
So maybe I missed him, but I don't think I missed that much context. You know what I'm saying?
I woke up, like, when I was dozing off, because you said, like, don't you doze off.
Yeah, because like, you wanted to fucking watch this shit. Not like, me. And if I fucking even catch a whiff of a snore, I'll whip your ass.
I dozed off one other time, and it was for a good
Were you asleep when I said don't you fall asleep?
No,
I thought you were like just admitting to it live on air.
No, it was after that, and I'm sitting there, I just closed my eyes for a minute, and it was one of those like
long blinks.
I jerked up, and I was like, oh, and I looked at the TV, and I was like, oh, I know what's going on. Like I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Yeah, it's just
and like okay, so one of the first guys they collect is Turok, and he's like.
Towel rack.
Yeah. Yeah, towel rack. He basically is like indentured servitude for a crime. Or like, I don't know why he's being chained up and forced to work. But they roll up and they're like, yeah, we need this guy. Like, what's his debt? We'll pay it. And he's like, 300,000 credits. And they're like, we don't got that. And he's like, well, I'm a gambling man. If he can go tame that beast, I'll let him go.
Like, why?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, why would you?
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And second of all, was that deal always on the table and this man's just been working and he could have just gone out there and tamed that beast?
Right. I don't know, like, I feel like, why would you risk losing $300,000
worth of... Though I guess, like, what he said he would get if he couldn't do it was that Cora and Farm Boy would then join him in chains. So I guess he's getting 3 people's labor.
I guess.
But either way, it feels like there's a better way to explain how they got him than that he tamed this beast. And also, he didn't keep the beast.
No, he gave him back.
Which felt like that was going to be the natural, like, that's his thing, is that he's got this. Because now his thing is, oh, remember when he tamed that beast?
It has no significance.
You know, he's not a gunslinger. He's not, like, you know, throwing knives. He's not stealthy.
He's just a shirtless dude.
Yeah, he tamed a beast, and then they left the beast behind.
You know, sorry about it, pal.
Yeah. And, like, Charlie Hunnam, who plays the not bounty hunter that's going around and helping them collect all these people. Kai, I think was his name, maybe. Yeah. He was bad in this movie.
Yeah.
And, like, Charlie Hunnam's not a bad actor. He was in Sons of Anarchy. He's the lead in that. Mm-hmm. He was a bad actor in this.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Like, several times he had lines where I was like, tough. That's the take. Like, that's the one.
There's a specific line I'm trying to think of where I remember having that same exact thought of, ooh.
That's the one.
I think it was something along the lines of, he was like, don't look at me. And I was like,
But then he ends up double crossing him. And then, like, it was this weird thing of, like, I didn't expressly see it coming, but it also wasn't surprising either. It was just so, okay, now this is happening.
yeah.
It's kind of that thing that we always talk about of, like, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens.
After that.
And there didn't feel like there was any cause or effect other than Korra, you know, the triggering action of Korra killing those guys. So now we have to prepare to fight them when they come back. That makes sense. But beyond that, there wasn't a lot of, and then this happens.
Yeah.
Kai being a bounty hunter did explain, like you and I both made the comment when she is talking, when Korra is talking to him and is like, here's what we're doing. We need your help. And he's like, all right, big bet.
Yeah, I'm in.
And you were like, that was easy.
Yeah, that was real fucking quick.
I guess it does explain why it was so easy, is because he's like,
he was on the hunt for him.
He's like, oh, well, yeah, I'll collect all these big heads that everybody's after and get a shit ton of money for it when I turn them in.
Just sucked.
Yeah.
It just sucked.
Very boring.
Yeah. Not
Uninteresting.
great. Are we going to go see Iron Claw next, though, maybe?
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it's bad, I'll own that shit.
Yep. Just like how I'm owning this.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we're missing out on.
That's it, man.
I mean, it's on Netflix. Watch it, but don't watch it.
Watch it. You can probably watch on TikTok.
Yeah,
a bunch of clips.
yeah. Like, watch
You,
out
make,
a
you make it to
morbid,
part 5, you're fine.
maybe morbid curiosity.
Now, here's the kicker. Is Morbius more interesting?
I think Morbius was funny bad.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has some
You're not gonna like
some redeeming qualities insofar as, like, it's more fun to talk about how bad it was.
Sure.
Like, it was angry bad. This was just like,
Oh, God, what are you
I'm
doing?
just fucking, what is this? Like, I'm so... The only part that made me mad was that it was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair.
Other than that, I was just like, it just happened to me. You know? I had to sit there and
You're just
let
sitting in
this
the
wash
wave.
over me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just was done. At least I could look at my phone. I don't know. Yeah, not great. Don't watch it. Like, do not. Save yourself. Floop is a madman. Help us. Save us.
Floop is madman. Help us. Save us.
What you been thinking about, Chris?
I think what you meant to say is, welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris. So this week, I actually wanted to read you guys a short story.
Is it a spoopy story?
It's a spoopy story.
Are you eepy?
I am EP. And the story is called The Doghouse Across the Street.
The doghouse across the street. Now, have you proofread this?
Mm-hmm.
So that you know how it goes?
Yep.
All right.
I was 9 years old when I moved into the new house at the end of the block. The house was new.
Should we turn off the overhead light?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it. Careful, you got that on.
Yeah. Oh!
Just fucking tear your shit up, dude. Splashing hot wax everywhere. Oh, fuck. Come on, you got it. He's trying to lock the front door. There we go. Like, too easy, dude. Almost too easy.
Almost.
Too easy.
Too easy. Hey, babe.
Fuck's texting me at the fucking moment. Someone I owe money to. By someone, I mean a company. It's going, hey, you haven't paid us yet. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm aware.
Yeesh.
You'll get your money when you fix this damn door.
He's a good boy.
Anyways, sorry. Reset the tone here. The room, or the doghouse across the street.
I was 9 years old when I moved into the house at the end of the block. It was a fairly new house, just built, and throughout the neighborhood there was a bunch of houses that, stood door to door, kind of cookie cutter houses.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a house in particular that had a red door with a doghouse to the side. As I walked to school every day, I would notice the doghouse sitting there empty, and I'd often wonder to myself if there was a dog there or if it had passed away.
Right.
And every day there would, I would look to see and there'd be no dog. But one night, on the way back, I had stayed at school to work on a project, and on my way back it was nighttime, and I had heard the jingle of a collar.
Yeah.
And as I walk up to the sidewalk to continue on my path home, I see that something had walked into the doghouse.
Mm-hmm.
It was night, and I was 9, so I didn't stick around, and I kept walking.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Reasonably so.
Yeah. Like those 9-year-olds walking at night.
Yeah. Oops, I lost my place.
Negligent parents,
Yeah. But as I sat in my room, I could see the doghouse from my window, and I opened up my blinds to take a look at it, and it was dark, but I could see something in there.
Yeah.
The silhouette of a figure. The next day, I go over there to see if the dog's still there. Nothing's there.
Mm-hmm.
I knocked on my neighbor's door to see, if their dog was an outdoor dog or if they had lost it, and they said that they don't own a dog.
Yeah.
So figuring that it must have been a stray of sorts,
Right. Taking shelter for the night.
I just continued my day. But then there was talks of what had happened. That there was an incident that the dog that once lived there had attacked the neighborhood, and they had killed the dog.
Yeah.
But legend has it, the dog still is out there roaming, waiting for its next victim.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it, and after that day when I went home, I had just gone to bed, and I looked out the window to see if that dog was still there, and I saw the eyes in the doghouse, and still that silhouette. And I'd closed the blinds and just gone to bed thinking it's just some stupid thing.
Yeah.
And then to wake up and I open up my bedroom door and I see scratch marks. That's where it ends.
On the bedroom door.
On the bedroom door.
Boom, boom.
Bum, bum, bum. Ah, that was a little spooky story though.
Yeah, get you a little.
Oh, fuck. It was getting him. It was finding him.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you, boy. I'm going for them toes, boy. Down to the door.
There's dude that trick question. That's my dog. Fucking he ate.
Yeah,
he ate
his
my
way
door.
through the door, damn near.
He has social anxiety.
He's got
Or
something.
separation anxiety, not social anxiety.
He's got something.
But he loves his cage, man.
Did his mom drink while she was pregnant?
They were Amish.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
That explains it right there.
I don't know. Picked him up. He was covered in fucking filth and throwing up on the way home.
Yep. I mean, same. That's how we found you. Just
Covered in
Amish town, Amish
Amish land, Amish country.
Amish country. That's the word. I cannot think of the word country. Amishville, Amish land, Amish. Out in Amish country, covered in horse shit in the barn, puking on the way home. Like, you're gonna be all right, boy. We're gonna give you a bath when you get home. You stink like shit. You're like,
He's my best boy, though. He's my bub.
He's a good boy.
Mm-hmm. He always means well.
Yeah.
I do like how nice of a dog he is.
Yeah.
It's his fault.
Yeah, he's a simple boy.
Yeah.
He's the dumbest smart dog I've ever met.
Yeah.
Or the smartest dumb dog. He's right on the line,
Like it
Both
feels
are
like because
true.
he's almost fully mature.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's done.
Yeah. And it could be like he's always gonna be my puppy. But it's like when I look at him or think about him, I'm like, he's not done developing.
Yeah, he sure is.
But it's like,
But that's not good because
doesn't
he is.
seem like it. Yeah. He does some stuff. I'm like,
he's got some room to develop, and you're like, yeah, but he's not. He's done. He has done. And you can teach him tricks,
And he follows commands.
Yeah.
Super
You
easy.
can teach an old dog new tricks. But as far as
But teaching a simple dog,
yeah,
abstract tricks.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, he's never gonna learn philosophy, but.
But
by God, he'll give you a paw if you got an ice cube. You know,
he'll tear it up. But no, other than that, I got some books today.
Yeah.
I got Lord of the Flies, which is a book I read in high school that was on. I mean, yeah, so
Cut that
good.
shit out. Hot take. This classic book that's required reading in most of the United States. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, everyone's probably read it, but yeah, one of my favorite books, and it was like I kind of forgot about it for a bit.
Sure.
And we had talked about it maybe like a year or two ago. And I was like,
we brought it up before. Yeah. I don't know on the show, but with each other, just in conversation. Yeah.
And then like, I thought about because I went to this bookstore once and I saw that they had Dante's Inferno, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to read just because I hear so much about it, and like the thought of like purgatory and stuff like that is just an interesting concept, regardless.
Now, is it just Dante's Inferno, or is it the full Divine Comedy?
It's just Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
But I want to get the full series, but I didn't the full book set was like $90.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well,
and also Dante's Inferno is the famous one.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'll get that one. If I really find it interesting, I'll go buy the rest,
Because it's what? It's Dante's Inferno, then it's Purgatorius, and I don't remember what heaven is called.
It starts with an O.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But so yeah, I got both of those, and I'm really excited to read them.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. I want to read more. But
that's the thing too, is like I don't read often. Like I read comic books and shit like that, right? And like news articles on my phone. But
but to sit down and read a novel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doesn't really happen.
So
it's that damn TikTok, dude.
Huh?
It's that damn TikTok, dude. It ruins your
my attention span.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Fried. Got to delete the app.
I can't.
But I just can't, and that's a problem. You know?
Probably. But it's like so many good memes are on there.
Yeah, I know.
But what about you? What you been thinking about?
Saltburn, dude. I was telling you about this. It's a pretty fucking good movie, dude.
What burns?
Saltburn. My Peter burns. Want to put it in salt. No. Oh, God. Imagine salt in your pecker hole.
It's just like a slug, you know?
Yeah, it's just
shriveling
the
up
second
and
it dries out. It's all
sliming.
It's like the Wicked Witch. I'm melting. Anyways, Saltburn with Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi. It's pretty good shit.
Yeah. What is it about? Like, can you... Because I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
So, the really hard part about the movie is I think it is best experienced...
Like going in blind?
Pretty dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then let me do that.
Well, so, like, I can give you the briefest, like, sky-level view synopsis.
Like, just... Is it a murder mystery, thriller? Is it... Because when I think of Saltburn, I think of Handmaid's Tale.
No.
Okay.
So, it's a few things. I'd call it, like... It's almost mystery, but not really. It's a black comedy for sure, where you're like, this is dark as hell, but it is funny.
Yeah, there's irony in it.
Yeah, and it's making fun of like the hyper wealthy, where like so it takes place in England, or just the UK and the islands in general. But the young man that Barry Keoghan plays is Oliver, and he goes to Oxford University and meets his friend Felix there, who is hyper wealthy, and ends up, the unlikely friendship where Oliver took his, like, he's from poor family, things like that, a bad upbringing, things like that, and just on his smarts got to Oxford, and Felix, his friend, got there on money.
Money.
But they hit it off, make a good friendship, and Felix ends up inviting Oliver back to his family's estate for the summer because Oliver didn't really have anywhere to go, when he's not at school. And he goes there, and it's like just disgustingly rich, and it's kind of just like these people suck, and it's just Oliver kind of being that outsider among all these people.
Yeah,
and then and then more happens, but I can't really get into that part.
Okay.
But it does get really intensely weird in good ways. there is like I will say, like, if anybody takes this as a recommendation, there are some pretty strong sexual themes. There is like I wouldn't watch it with my grandparents, you know. Like, I recommended it to my mom, but we're a pretty sex positive family, you know what I mean? So I'd watch it by yourself first, or like with a partner or friends. I've seen pretty mixed reactions, not to the quality of the film, but to the subject matter, where some people are like, I was fucking like the craziest shit I've ever seen, and then some people are like, y'all are prudes. You know what I mean? So it just depends. I mean, it's a personal gauge. For me, I was never like, I could see why it was upsetting to some people, but I wasn't upset by it.
Sure.
But no, it's really good. And again, less is more as far as like what you know about going in.
What you know about going
It's on Amazon Prime. It's included on Prime. So if you're paying for Amazon Prime Video, just check that shit out. If anybody's watched Promising Young Woman, it's from the same writer-director.
Gas. Promising Young Woman?
Yeah.
Excellent. Bo Burnham's in that movie.
He is. He's in the, yeah.
He's one of the characters.
Yeah.
Have you seen heard the TikToks and it's like, oh boy, I really wish you could.
Jesus. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an older movie, but yeah. Bo Burnham. It's like
2018?
Yeah, it's like 5 years ago, my man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
2020 was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yep. Yep. I mean, you figure we basically lost 2 to 3 years to the pandemic.
It's been half a decade since I was in high school.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 10 years. Next year,
are you going to go to your 10-year reunion?
I don't know.
I think I'd go to the 10-year, and then after that, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore after that.
Yeah. I think social media kind of does away with the necessity.
Yeah.
In a way where, like, anybody that I wanted to keep up with, I can.
You can.
You know what I mean? So it is a weird thing of, like...
Are those even a thing anymore?
I mean, they are, but it's a weird feeling of, like, it doesn't feel necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only thing would be, like, actually getting together with those people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's interesting. But like I said, as far as, like, keeping caught up with, you know, part of the appeal of the reunions is, like, I wonder how everybody is, like, what they do,
have you
who
been
they
doing,
are
yeah.
now. Yeah. But, like, like I said, with social media, you know, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, I guess
I don't know if that sounds
just
cynical. I'm not trying to be.
No, I don't think it does. I mean, just times change, right? It's
Yeah.
a different time.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been thinking heavily about Saltburn. It's taken up a lot of my thought. It does a really good job of... So it takes place in 2006. And so it does a good job of, like... It uses songs that I don't remember from 2006. Not to say, like, they didn't come out then. They did.
Right.
But I don't remember them as, like, being hits at the time. But now I'm like, I've got that shit in my Spotify now, you know? And I think it's also because it uses them in, like, pretty iconic ways, you know? Like, the ending scene of the movie is probably the most, like, visually graphic, but not sexually or violently. Okay. You're just seeing nudity. But like I said, it's super apathetic nudity. But it's super, like, iconic in a good way where you're like, this is it. And then it's got a song playing throughout that you're like, I've got this song in my head now.
Yeah, I want to give it a watch.
Yeah. And it's pretty brisk. And it's one of those where once the hook starts, you're like, oh my God,
you're sunk.
You're in. But so I've been thinking about that, and then I've been thinking about, like, our New Year's resolutions for us as an entity, not like me individually. Like, obviously for me, it's like, I want to lose weight. You know, the classics, right? I want to be a better person. You know,
that is how the world works.
Why do you rich fucking white people? But like us as an entity, you know, Simply Whelmed. I personally, as Colin, as the co-creator, I want to stream more often. Oh, I say more often. I want to start streaming. I streamed twice as Colin from Simply Whelmed. And I've just been playing Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. Because caught it on the Steam sale, and I was like, well, I've been wanting to play it. You know, I played it when it first came out, and it wasn't good. But, you know, all the talk has been that it's good now. So I've been playing that. I've been wanting to stream, so I thought, well, I'll just stream it. And so I want to, I don't know if, I want to find a schedule for that, I suppose.
Yeah.
And get more regular with that. We've kind of talked about like things that we could stream together.
Yeah.
I think social media is a big blind spot for us.
We've been lacking.
So I want to become a bit more active there and just more tech savvy with like, okay, how does this thing's in a weird spot, like this thing being the podcast is in a weird spot of like being a hobby that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And because I'm passionate about it, I want it to do well, you know? And like it is, but like there's things that we obviously should or could be doing that we're just not.
Yeah.
And I'd like to, also we've been doing it for almost 100 episodes, so it's nice to revitalize it in some ways.
Yeah.
Adding in things like the streaming or changing up the way we do things or, not fully change it, but I'm always open to switching it up.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
You feel me?
Dude. Both hands.
Do you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
I'm not feeling it now, Mr. Krabs.
Krabs. But I mean, what do you want out of the podcast? Or like, how I'm talking about streaming. What would you want to?
Yeah. No, I'd like to do some Twitch streaming too, just because a lot of our downtime is like things that we kind of, besides movies, bond about is video games.
We play games, yeah.
And so like, it's hard to, we'll have really funny moments, and it's never as funny when you talk about them. But if you can watch the moment, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
So maybe capturing some of those moments.
Yeah. And it's a hard part of like you said, it's their candid moments. So then to recount it, it's like you had to be there.
Right. Yeah.
But also it's super bizarre how having a microphone in front of you changes, like you immediately begin performing.
A bit.
Where like we were talking, getting ready to record, and then as soon as I turned this on and could hear my voice, I know that I changed how I was talking.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like customer service. You're up more, you're proper, sitting better.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And so it's a hard one of like, will it still be candid if we know that we're technically performing? And that starts to get just a little bit more philosophical than anything. But it's like the same thing of like if the camera's on, you're not you.
I mean, everyone's acting to a degree.
Yeah.
We keep it a bit more real here, and we just make it, obviously there's things we can and can't say on here, whether just, it's the internet, right? So maybe we shouldn't be saying stuff like that, but
or also just
moral
like
beliefs and stuff. And
yeah, and there's parts of us that are like, well, I don't want that to be
right. Not that it's good or bad, but it's just like
I don't know that I want that to be out there.
Yeah, it's taboo.
Yeah, like personal beliefs, things like that.
Yeah.
Even though we are pretty open about certain personal beliefs. But yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
fucking
sue us.
me. She got leather in the mail.
Actually, please don't sue me.
Please don't.
I cannot afford to be sued right now. I've got to wrap up these other lawsuits. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure that you give it a like, 5 stars, review, all that good stuff on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. Make sure that you are liking, following, subscribing on that audio streaming service of choice. That way you're getting notified when we post our episodes. We were talking. Our schedule may change.
Oh yeah.
We're not certain yet. Because I've got a change happening in my work schedule that might adjust how we have to record and edit and post. But we're gonna see if we can't keep the same schedule and just try and make it work. Or
that's how the world works, baby. You gotta roll with the punches.
Get that money up, not that funny up. But either way, we'll let you guys know ahead of time before we make any big changes. If people wanted to get in touch with us and let us know if they did in fact watch Rebel Moon, what they thought about it.
I want to get emails of people saying that they liked it.
Yeah,
so
it's really I would like to
point at them and
laugh. Yeah, call them names like Rudolph. What names were they calling Rudolph? I like to think they were slurs.
They definitely were.
Yeah, like unrelated to the red nose. You know what I mean? Like they used to laugh and call them names, and it's just like the N-word. You're like, whoa. I mean, it was a long time. It was a different time, you know.
It was just it was
not that it's an excuse, but like, it was a different time. Yeah.
You know,
that's a different Rudolph that you and I watched, you know. Anyways,
they said it was like separation or separate but equal.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Rudolph and Santa having a talk about Jim Crow laws.
Santa, have a seat.
Santa, what's Brown versus the Board of Education? Well, you see. Anyways.
Yeah. You can always get a hold of us. You can send us an email, or actually, we'll take a look at our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube first. That's Simply Whelmed Podcast. Our Twitter handle is Whelmed_Simply. Or you can shoot us an email, like I originally said, at simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
That's right. My Twitch is Simply Whelmed Pod Colin.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what yours is.
I think it's just Simply Whelmed Chris.
Yeah. But I did, when I was streaming Cyberpunk, I did post on our socials, like, hey, I'm going live. So that'd be a good way to keep in track on that.
Yeah, we can do highlights and I'll my New Year's, I'm tech savvy would be cool. So I'll watch some YouTube videos on like how to be tech savvy on like Instagram, like by doing like highlights, post on your story and stuff like that, hyperlinks in your bio, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, all that good jazz. But so next week it sounds like we're probably doing Iron Claw. If anything changes, you'll be fucking, you'll find out when we post this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Just keep it tuned in, keep it tight, keep it right, you know? That's it, Chris. Tell everybody bye.
Doses.